Hello everyone, welcome to yet another lesson on responsibilities as a student and citizen. In the former lesson 5.3, we had talked about the fundamental duties and democratic values that were entitled to a citizen as a national to live well, to live in harmony with the country. Though certain rules we did see that were not a legal binding, but yes, I think at some point in time we might feel them morally or ethically binding so that we are able to live in harmony and balance. When we are morally alert, when we are ethically alert, then life becomes more easier. When we refrain ourselves from indulging in anything which does not make sense or anything which can lead us into a wrong path is very, very good, because then with that we can have sane living, with that we can have a fulfilled life, then we can have a peaceful life and also a progressive life. All of us believe in progression at all phases in life. Stagnation is very, very unwelcoming for all of us, and progress is why we constantly keep learning. Progress is why we constantly keep striving to achieve, to do better, to live well, to earn well, to have a healthier lifestyle, to have a better standard of living. So, all of that. Now, this lesson that we are about to begin, 5.4, it again pivots around a student being a citizen. So, being an ethical student, honesty in academics, and digital behavior. How does honesty matter in academics? Do you think should it matter at all? That how honest you are while you're attempting something, how honest you are while you're learning something, per se the digital behavior also, because all of us use technology very frequently. I mean, the spread of technology is far and wide. We cannot even think about an hour without technology. Can we? We cannot. When, for instances, our phones have lost battery, do we feel lost? Yes, we do. But then, at the same time, when it has a pro, it will have a con also. So we need to have a pro and con evaluation and then use it accordingly. So let's begin with lesson 5.4. An ethical student, honesty in academics. An ethical student is someone who consistently demonstrates integrity. Why do we say consistently? Because that is the key to sustainable living. Inconsistency cannot help you to have a satisfied life, a balanced life. There will be upheavals in life, but then you will have the grit, you will have the knowledge, you will have the skill to combat all types of situations so that you can live consistently. An ethical student is someone who consistently demonstrates integrity, honesty, very important, and responsibility in their academic pursuits and interactions within the educational community. When we say educational community, it means the place where you are in, the learning school that you are in. Whether it is a school, whether it is a college, it is like a community. Why like a community? Because there are several people of different genres, there are several people of different levels which are associated on the same platform. Like you have students, you have the faculty, you have the administrators, you have the people who are working in the office, then you have people in the mid managerial level, then you have people in the senior managerial level, you have directors, principals, so on and so forth. So you see there are people from various walks of life, people who are working for the common cause, but their areas of working are very different. The areas of their productivity are very different. It goes beyond just avoiding cheating. So, if we think that cheating is the only criteria for us to be ethical and honest, then it is a slight change and a slight enlightenment that we need to receive. It encompasses a broader commitment to learning and contributing positively to the academic environment. Now, when we have a larger educational community, we enlisted so many people with so many differently uh, arranged key responsibility areas, different expectations, different workforces. So everyone has their own contribution. So whether it is small, whether it is big, whether it is significant, whether it is insignificant, everyone contributes. So we too need to contribute positively to the academic environment. Now let's see what are the key characteristics of an ethical student. What all should you do to become ethical? What kind of a framework you need to follow? What is the square that you fit into being an ethical student? Honesty and integrity. So, what is it? Non cheating and plagiarism. We understand non cheating, but non cheating is a very small term where we think of it as common. Cheating can be a very large perspective going on to public examinations. When we start cheating, is it justified? No, it isn't justified. When we talk about plagiarism, is plagiarism justified? We feel lethargic sometimes and we want things the easy way, but that is not how we should do it. Then we have truthfulness. Do we think that we need to be truthful to the system, to ourselves? Because if we are not truthful, how our learning is going to be? Our learning is not going to be effective, it is not going to be fruitful. So, if you want good learning, conducive learning, learning that takes you a long way, we need to be honest and with a lot of integrity. Responsibility and accountability. Now, responsibility and accountability we have been hearing time and on because they form the basic of human values, they form the framework, they form the structure. So, we have what? Meeting and deadlines. We have taking ownership, we have reliability. We talked about code of conducts, professional code of conducts that they were. So we talked about meeting deadlines. We talked about setting targets. We talked about setting targets amicably. We talked about ownership. We talked about accountability basically. When you are given a task and then you are answerable to a certain person or answerable to yourself because you need to rate the amount of work that you have done. You need to rate the quality of work that you are producing in the given time that you have. Reliability, whether or not that you did was ethically correct, whether or not that you did was trustworthy enough to be processed. So, yes, do you think that these are important? Definitely, they are important. How about academic diligence? Genuine effort and active learning. When we say genuine effort, we mean that when we put in an effort, we tend to learn at every step. Knowledge is always a learning at every corner, every phase in life. Whether it is a very small learning, like for example, a small baby learning how to write A, which goes a lifelong then. I mean, when we see it as a milestone, it may be very small, very insignificant. But if a child genuinely makes an effort into learning the entire alphabet system, helps him to communicate later on, whether it is verbal communication, whether it is non-verbal communication, written communication, active learning. Whatever we are learning has to be taken in a good spirit. It has to be taken in positivity. So that is how it's going to be embedded for life. Like when we learn, we cannot unlearn, can you? When you learn a language, it is a lifelong process. You cannot unlearn a language, just like driving as a skill. When you learn driving and then you don't frequently drive also, but then you cannot forget learn how to drive, can you? So active learning. Then we talk about respect for the academic community. We talked about so many stakeholders in it. How do we function with them? How do we work in tandem with them? How do we interconnect with them towards the common goal? Respect for faculty and staff, whichever subject they have, whatever work area they have, whichever, when we talk about staff, we talk about the administrative staff, we talk about the ministerial staff, we talk about other support staff, we talk about contractual staff. So everything is equal irrespective of the work they do. Some, according to you, may be contributing more and some may be contributing less. but that is their work, that has been allotted to them, that is how they are effectively doing it, so everything is important. Positive peer interaction. When we go to institutes, we make friends, we sometimes make like minded friends. Sometimes the friends that we have don't share the same wavelength, we are at a difference, but then we need to talk to them, we need to interact with them because we are all sociable. So we need to live in a balance with everything that is around us. Adherence to rules. All institutions have a set of rules which we need to live by. Because, see, how would a college or how would a school look like if there were no rules? Then everybody would be doing their own way and not learning anything. Or the key takeaways would have been left out, important takeaways would have been left out. Uh, if you think like that, that why are rules important, how about we do a role reversal? How about if we say that, how about if the faculty doesn't adhere to the rules? It will, the life in an institution for you will be very, very difficult if the faculty doesn't adhere to the rules or the staff doesn't adhere to the rules. So it is basically a give and take. All of us need to work together for an institution to thrive and to strive well. The second aspect of today's lesson was digital behavior. So, does an ethical student fall in line with the digital behavior also? Digital behavior is everything that is digitalized for us, be it our mobiles, be it our laptops, be it any online mode. Digital behavior for students refers to the responsible, ethical, and safe way in which students interact with technology and online environments. So, we know the best example of an online environment is when the pandemic had hit us. Initially, the schools and the colleges were in a lurch. They did not know how the year would succeed, how the students are going to receive their education, what will the pattern of assessment be. But as and when time passed, there was considerable evolving that happened. Teachers learned new skills, the students learned how to manage online activities very efficiently, and then we sailed through the pandemic year also. How did that happen? That happened by online environments, that happened with interaction with technology. There were so many old school teachers also that we know of who actually learned and learned the correct way to multi skill and use the phones, use the laptop to deliver a lecture to you, to deliver a class to you, to take your test, to assess you, to rate your assignments, to help you in any other task, to conduct activities which were happening physically then before the pandemic. In today's highly connected world, where digital tools are integral to learning, communication, and social life, it's crucial for students to develop strong digital citizenship skills. We need to be digitally alert to help our skills to thrive. So, we need to know that we need to have a sane digital behavior so that we can have good living, so that the outcome that we have is good, the outcome that we have is very beneficial. It causes no harm to our mental health, it doesn't cause any social harm, it doesn't cause any physical harm. So here are some aspects of positive digital behavior for students. Let's see how important they are, how we can associate with them, how we can understand about them. Online safety and security, protecting personal information. So, when we have information which has to be protected and not made public, we need to draw a boundary. We need to have some kind of a demarcation with whatever information that we are sharing online with. Whether it be family, whether it be friends, whether it be any institute, whether it be any organization, anything. Strong passwords and privacy settings. So when we are creating a password, often on so many sites we are prompted these days. What does the prompt say? That you need to have a caps lock alphabet there, you need to have a lowercase alphabet there, you need to have a number there, you need to have a special character there, you need to have a password which is nothing less than 8 characters. So all websites give you that platform or they guide you how to do about it. So that is there, that we need to have something where we can protect our privacy, where it is not made available to public. Recognizing scams and phishing. There are so many phishing sites, there are so many shopping phishing sites. So we have to be careful, and we need to use to think logically. If we have seen that a place has products which have things which are of lesser value than other places, then how do we go about curtailing those particular websites? Then we have device security. We have all sorts of protection that we have. We have antivirus scans where your device is continually protected from any malware if can be attached to your computer. Then we have critical evaluation of information. We have this critical evaluation means we need to adjudge for ourselves that what information we want and what information we need to share further on with anybody else. So it has to be barricaded slightly. It cannot be free for all. What are digital etiquette and netiquette is another word for digital etiquette. Netiquette means how you're using your net, the internet. Respectful communication. We do not need to use derogatory words. We do not need to use words or abuses over the internet. When we have social media, we need to be very careful, because then there is something which is called as a digital ban also that can be levied on you. There are digital courts which cater to those needs. Mindful tone. We may have an idea, we may have a belief, but then that belief and that idea has to put in a very amicable language, a very respectful language, so that it does not create any offense to the other person. Thinking before you are posting. See, whatever you post mirrors you. It shows or it projects your mindset. It shows what you're thinking. It shows what you're feeling. It shows what you're about to do. So we have to be very mindful of what we are posting. It just images us. And people know our frame of mind. People know what we are about to do. People know our intention. Active listening and reading. So we look at videos, so many platforms give you the facility of learning videos also, entertainment videos also. So what we listen, we need to filter. We need to understand what is meant to be understood, and not derive our own knowledge system, not derive values which are not meant to be imparted during that particular video. Appropriate content sharing. Here again, we talk about privacy, and then we also talk about certain standards which we need to maintain so that our image remains positive. We cannot have something which defames us going upon the social media. Staying on the topic, if we make content like we are doing now, so if we are talking about a certain topic, we need to stick to it. It may have a little parallel, but it cannot go beyond. So we need to be mindful. With that, we finish lesson 5.4, and what we read or what we shared here today was about being an ethical student in the field of honesty in academics and in the field of digital behavior, or being digitally aware. So I'm sure here you learned how you can actually practice what you learned, how can you practice what is preached to you, and how can you correlate everything for a better living, a balanced living. Thank you.